I'm Jim Clifford from Baker Tilly, advisors to the FE sector and the charity sector. I head up charity and education advisory services for the UK. And I've recently been involved as the lead author of the research report on the Alliance of Sector Skills Councils, looking at their social impact.
Can you tell me a bit about that report?
Well, that report was commissioned by the Alliance on the back of a prompt and some encouragement from Sector Skills Council, one of their members. It looked at what is their social impact, what is their impact on the UK economy. The Alliance have for a long time promoted the impact of the Sector Skills Councils on the UK economy, their worth, their reach into the education sector, but also linking up with industry. And they've waxed eloquent about the outcomes that they were achieving. But it isn't until you put a financial measure on them, in this measurement culture to which we're being encouraged, that you start to realise how great is that impact and how great their reach really is.
And what hot topics have you noticed from the conference so far?
Well, in terms of the report, I think one of the hottest topics is the sheer size of the numbers concerned. As John Rogers mentioned in his opening address, the average impact, annual impact of over £100 million from only 5 million of funded input from the industry and government is at the very least striking. And I suppose that begs the question as to, are those sort of level of figures credible? They are so large. Well, when you look at the sheer reach of a Sector Skills Council, right the way across the UK, into its industry groupings, into all educational establishments, academies, FE, HE and lifetime learning, and then you put it in context of the amount of value that is flowing through those industry sectors and those providers, you can see that in that context, these sort of levels of impact are perhaps even predictable. In terms of the other messages coming out from the research study, there are some very interesting ones. In the white paper that was published shortly before Christmas, we had a call from government to, in a sense, rationalise the SSCs, to look at effectiveness, reduction in costs, not least driven by austerity budgeting, about which we've heard so much and understand the reasons for it. But what this raises as a question is the whole area of collaborative working. Rather than merging together SSCs, if you like, forcing different industry sector groups to admit that they are akin to each other, something which they don't feel and don't share a common focus, there are many areas where particular project areas, particular support areas, back office, front office, do genuinely overlap and could do with being worked together. So I think the clear call is for collaborative working to look again at clustering models rather than necessarily rushing to a merger model.
Machinery of government.
The changes in the machinery of government create some very interesting dynamics for us all. The time of change we've had over the last 2 or 3 years throughout FE has been possibly faster than we've ever experienced before. And I guess we're still reeling from the effects of that. Certainly at FE college level, when I talk to many of the colleges that we work with, they have big question marks in their mind as to whether the funding checks are going to arrive in April when the local authorities take over from the LSCs. But in the context of the social impact evaluation, it raises a very interesting area. Social impact, by the changes in the machinery of government, the FE colleges are being driven to take an even greater part in the development of skills and the development of industry within their local area, within their catchment area. There's an encouragement to network with the local authorities and with other providers and with industries. Encouragement to network, looking at performance, looking at effect. I think this is just begging embracing social impact methodology, which has been published by the government and so has a degree of recognition anyway, and looking for each college at how you apply it to your local projects and your local outreach.
2010 for Baker Tilly and general election. General election.
Recently, in a session at the Centre for Charity Effectiveness at the Cass Business School, I had the privilege to attend a lecture in which the audience there, spread from all over the third and public sectors, were saying their two big unknowns for the future were austerity budgeting. Fine, we understand that one. And then the political and policy climate that we're going to see after the general election. If we return a Labour government, I think it's widely accepted that it won't be in quite the same form and with quite the same policy imperatives that we have now. If we return a Conservative government, again, we'll see changes in policy imperatives. What we as the FE sector need to do, and we as Baker Tilly need to help the sector do, is to work through that and continue the great work of learning and skills development, pursuing LEACH, pursuing our local agendas, pursuing our belief in the education of youngsters and lifelong learning, despite the changes that we're seeing, to work with those changes, develop and create something better. I think the challenge is to lead and to network for the future. I think one warning I would like to add about the use of social impact methodologies. There are a number of them in the marketplace, a number of them very well researched, and they are well founded and well thought through. The one from New Economics Foundation, Social Return on Investment, is the one that has been published in the government's paper, and I have to say it is one that I find personally acceptable and usable. However, it does come with some health warnings. It needs using in order to gain a greater understanding as to the outcomes that are being achieved within an organisation. It mustn't be turned into a magic number akin to numerology. How could we possibly take as this magic number or ratio a comparison of a homeless shelter in an inner city area with the work of an SSC or a major national children's charity? It doesn't make sense. It needs carefully applying intelligently and helpfully so that we can, if you like, move from a measurement culture into a true understanding and valuing culture.